What's up everyone? Additional update today because of the fact that we're seeing a deep crash on the markets. And we have been cautious on the markets because of the fact that we were still downtrending and the fact that we wanted to see 56k hold. And the moment that 56 was lost, we are seeing pain on the market. So we're going to discuss that in this additional market update this morning. Later today, I'll be discussing lengthening cycles and what I'm expecting from the markets. Although that video was made yesterday, so the view didn't change on the long-term cycle. And I think that we are relatively close to a bottom at this stage. Before we're going to continue, do not forget to subscribe to this new YouTube channel. Do not forget to check out the giveaway, which is in the description beneath. We are going to give away 5 times 0.1 ETH, 0.1 ETH, which is one of the bigger prizes. And tomorrow we're going to do something really cool as well. And also do not forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where you can find daily content when it comes to the markets. I've started to post more on all those platforms to help and to give my view when it comes to the movements of the markets, and also combining it with macroeconomics, which we have been doing yesterday, in which some fears around tapering started to occur, and also the strength of the dollar was significantly increasing or was showing up after the fact that payrolls was a miss, and the unemployment rate was actually decreasing. But what we saw yesterday was, or actually in the past week, was the fact that Bitcoin was still making lower highs and lower lows. We've had a drop last weekend, which was to 53k. After that, we've surged back at the end of the weekend on Sunday evening, as I recall correctly, and we ran to 59k, but we made another lower high, and we were slamming that support level at 56, resulting into a corrective move. As yesterday 56 was lost, and the price of Bitcoin started to nosedive below 54k, and during the night we've actually started dropping down even faster, all the way towards the crucial area of support that I wanted to see sustain, which is the area around 43k. And I've been saying that the sweet spot is the area between 47 to 50k, which we ultimately got as a retest. But what did actually happen in the past, let's say, 12 hours? It's very comparable to what happened in May or in March last year. Is because of the fact that the market is relatively small, but the ability to trade with leverage is significantly high, through which market makers and liquidity providers don't have enough liquidity to actually fulfill all the positions if they start to cascade. So the moment that the price of Bitcoin is starting to fall down, or actually shoot up, it's the other way around, but when it starts to accelerate south, you will see a cascade of liquidations and stops being hit, but also people that are selling their positions because of emotions kicking in, and that is resulting into such a fast and deep wick in just a matter of time, few minutes, and then we quickly bounce back up. So that's when you get those deep wicks on the chart, and that's purely because of the insane amount of leverage that's in the markets right now. So then we get to the point of what's going to happen from here. I think that we've just witnessed the bottom, or we're relatively close to it. We've just witnessed a 38% correction, and we've hit a crucial level of support that if we are in a bull cycle, which I assume we are, this should beat the bottom. And also what we see with altcoins, they are still showing strength. Ethereum against Bitcoin is doing really well, and I believe that the cycle is not over. So in that case, if you did not have any positions at all, I think this is an ultimate chance. I've been saying at 53k, this is the first level where you should be starting to scale in, and you should be using the DCA strategy, in which you just ladder buys. If you're doing that strategy, you have a nice balanced average buy-in, in which you probably have an average buy-in of approximately 48, 49k, around that region. Which is way better than just buying at 60k, assuming that something goes to 150k. You have bought way lower, and therefore you are in profits way faster too. That concept we have been discussing over the past week. We have been calling those levels where we should be looking at for potential buys. We're going to look at it in a little bit too. So what should you do right now? I think you should just sit back and just wait it out. Probably we're going to have or need some time to recover from this. I still assume Q1 is going to be massive. If Bitcoin is bottomed out, altcoins will start to shoot off. Right now we just see a higher amount of fear across the market, so it will just take some time. If you do have positions and you feel like you're heavily underwater, remind yourself that it's just a snapshot. So if the market starts to drop, it will not stay there for the entire time. It's already up 15% since the low. So if you're checking your blockfolio during such a crash, you see your portfolio crash down heavily, but that's just a snapshot. Think zoom out and think long term. The same goes with an acceleration upwards. If you start refreshing your portfolio, the numbers are not real until you realize those profits. So if you have positions and if you still have USDT, probably a good time to start accumulating. If you don't have any USDT in your portfolio, probably a good time to start evaluating what you have been doing. And if you were able to buy the dip, good for you. I think that's too long of an intro, but I think I've covered all the topics that I should be covering. Let's get towards the charts in which we're discussing Bitcoin and ETH right now. So when we're looking at the price action in itself, this was one of the scenarios that I was looking at personally, in which we are copy pasting a little bit of the structure that we've had in May, but also the structure that we've had during the previous correction, in which we had a first drop down, slight bounce, and another deep wick, resulting in the end of the correction taking place at this point. Well, in that case, we did mark a few important levels to watch. We marked this entire block here, which was a quick bounce area, but as we discussed the previous range, we also saw a few resistance points that we had to break to become bullish. So I remained bearish beneath 60k, and we also see that rejection taking place here in the red zone. Since then, price had come down, and because 56k was lost, which we will be covering in a little bit, price started to accelerate south. And I've covered this topic that this acceleration happened because we lost the support here, and there's a big gap between the support levels. So traders use reference points to actually start building their positions, and support and resistance levels are those levels. But if there is nothing in between, price just cascades out, and then liquidations happen, stop loss triggers, all that stuff is going to happen. In this case, we also said if we lose 56, we most likely are going to make a new lower low, and then the price starts to nosedive further south, in which we lose 53 and we only have the next support at 48 or 47k. The same happened right now, but what we see in the chart in itself is that the price overshoots south because of 1, weekend times, 2, over leveraged positions resulting into such a deep wick. We also said 47 to 50k is the sweet spot that I want to look for buys, and the crucial area to hold for Bitcoin is this entire block that we have here. If we lose that, we are in a bear market, as we are making a new lower low. But as long as we stay above and we close the weekly above 48k, which I find very important, we are pretty much fine. So at this stage, it feels kind of weird that we're having such a deep correction taking place, but it's actually just still a normal correction in a bull cycle, which is in crypto always a little bit heavy. But I think we're close to the bottom, given the fact that we've retested such an important level. So this entire scenario actually made it happen, and we're just going to take time, in which a parabolic move for Bitcoin is simply not going to take or going to happen in the near future. So when we're looking at the lower time frames, and I've marked those levels here too, when we're looking at the lower time frames, we have marked this 56k level as a very important one. We've also concluded that we were making lower highs, lower lows. And right now we dropped all the way back towards this level here, which we immediately flipped as resistance, and we started to cascade south. So right now every indicator is deep in the red, oversold or whatever you want to call it. What is most likely going to happen? Well, we probably are having a bottom here, in which we're going to retest 52k to 53k. After that, most likely a higher low or a retest, sideways action, some accumulation before we're going to reverse the trend. At this point, we're going to seek for some bullish divergence to be taking place, or at least some sideways action like we have been seeing in the previous correction too. It's very comparable to the price action here. Therefore, I'm assuming that we're getting quite close. And the fact that we have been overshooting south might make us result into a bounce all the way towards this region here before we're going to have some retest taking place. So what is December going to be? I think we're just going to have some sideways action for now. But the fact that we were losing 56k definitely resulted into that acceleration south and resulted into a corrective move, which is quite painful for most of you. Therefore, what is the best case right now? I think we are eager for the, well, we could say that we were bearish. And I think from this point on, I'm going to be bullish on the markets. Let's just say there, I think we're close to the bottom. So it's reason to start becoming bullish and it's reason to start looking for long entries. Ethereum against USDT made a lower high here too. And we've marked these two levels as important levels to potentially hit for long entries, which we have been hitting. I think Ethereum is way stronger than Bitcoin at this point. And if Ethereum is going to close above 3.9, this is going to be ultimately great. Also, when it comes to the Bitcoin pair, crucial level has held. I was quite cautious when it comes to the ETH Bitcoin pair in the fact that I was not happy with the 3-day candle. But beautiful retest, beautiful bounce back up. So congratulations on that. But it's also showing that altcoins are still looking fine and eager for big breakouts to be happening starting next month. December is the month to buy. January is the month to enjoy. February, March, April, May too. So as a conclusion, use your money to buy the dip and enjoy the time. Have a good weekend. I'll be back later today.